Alright guys, this is exactly what it looks like. This is an emergency video. I saw a ton of you have been starting to make your submissions on April 24th. And some of them have been okay, some of them not the best. I think I figured out the issue, well, other than the obvious issue that we're not in school and this virtual schooling is very difficult and is not the best. But the other issue is something I'm going to explain as we go through here. Before I do though, try to make this clear, and maybe hearing it actually from my voice will make it a little bit better. The submitted assignment does not need to be through that Google Doc, especially because this specific assignment has you making number lines, which is extremely difficult. Trust me, I've been doing my share of number lines on Google Docs and it's very tedious and time consuming. So if it's not easy for you, or it's not something you like doing or want to be wasting your time doing, then by all means write your answers down on another piece of paper, take a picture of it and email the picture to me. It'll be so much easier for you. Okay, so you can get creative, or if it's easier for you to make a Word document, you can do it on Word document, make one number line, copy and paste it every single time. It should work for the majority of those questions. I don't care how you do it, but if you're wasting time trying to make every single number line in particular and on the Google Doc, trust me, I understand that's not the easiest way. Take a picture, send it to me, however you want to, okay? But this is quality summary sheet material. Now, keep in mind, you don't need to keep a summary sheet, but you have been talking about 3 different inequalities. We have linear inequalities. Okay, linear inequalities have one inequality sign. Okay, there's 4 different types of inequality signs. Linear inequalities have one of them. Then you have compound inequalities. Compound inequalities have 2 inequality signs, okay, any of the 2 of them. And then you have absolute value inequality sign, absolute value inequalities. Okay, they're the ones that have the absolute value bars. You will always be splitting these up and therefore end up with 2. Okay, so that will end up with 2 inequality signs. But the major issue I was seeing is some people, like the very first couple of questions on that submitted assignment, you guys were splitting them up. You were treating them like absolute value questions. Please do not. Okay, so I'm going to do an example of each. Let's just call this A, B, and absolute value is going to be C. So an example of a linear inequality. I'm just making these up on the spot. Let's say we have like 5 plus x is less than a negative 10 plus 4x, right? Okay, linear inequality. It's got one inequality sign. That's it. That's how you recognize it right away. Nothing else. These are simple. Don't overdo them. Don't overthink them. All you need to do, get your variables together, numbers together. So I'm going to add the 10 to the right. Or I'm sorry, it's on the right. I'm going to add it to the left. I'm going to subtract my x. I always like my variables to be positive. Gives me a 3x. Sign comes straight down. 5 plus 10 is 15. I only have one inequality sign still. Okay, don't do anything crazy here. One inequality sign. Get the variable by itself. 5 is less than x. That's it. That's your final answer. Okay, now if you want to rewrite this and put the variable on the left side, not a bad idea. But that's it. So it's pointing towards the 5. So when you rewrite it, it still needs to be pointing towards the 5. And then if you're just putting this on a piece of paper, put 0 there, put the number greater than 5, open circle, shaded to the right. That's all you need to do, okay? Do not make these harder than you have to. A lot of people I'm seeing, you're starting to submit those assignments. You're taking these single linear inequalities and you're splitting them up. No, 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 no. That is only for absolute value inequalities, okay? So now here, let's look at letter B. Let's do a compound inequality. Compound inequalities also easy to recognize because they either have the word and or. So you'll see them right away too. Sometimes they don't, and so in fact I'll do one that doesn't right now. Say you have something like this. 2 is less than 10 plus 4x which is less than or equal to 12. So again, you'll recognize it right away because you see two inequality signs. And other than this specific instance that I've shown you, either has the words and or. So here we go. Subtract the 10. Whatever you do to the middle, do to both sides. Negative 8 is less than. The 4x comes straight down. The sign comes straight down. 2. Divide by 4. Whatever you do to the middle, got to do to both sides. Negative 2 is less than x, which is less than or equal to 1/2. So that's it. Don't split it up. That's all it is. Draw your number line. Put 0. Put your two numbers of reference. Open circle, solid circle. Now, what's nice about these compound inequalities is x is in between those two numbers. So my shaded answers have to be in between those two numbers. All right. So you can see here, we're going to do letter C. This is going to be an absolute value inequality. So say I have something like this. I'll try to keep it pretty basic. Sure. Okay. This is one where you're going to need to split it up, but you only split it up when it's just the absolute value. Right now I have a 2 and I've got a 1 with it. I got to get rid of those first. Now that it's just the absolute value, now I can split it up. Now we can say that's x is greater than 3 or x is less than a negative 3. That's the only time you're splitting it up, all the way at the very end there. Or another example of when you would split it up is if, so say you had something like that. All right, 2 times the absolute value of x plus 1 greater than 10. You can't distribute into absolute value, so you got to get rid of that 2. And now split it up. Okay, you split it up when it's just the absolute value, nothing on the outside. See how that 2 was on the outside, this 2 was on the outside, this 1 was on the outside. That's when you got to move those things first. Then you get to just the absolute value. Now I'm going to split it up. Now I draw my number line. Here's where I'm going to have two things on my number line. So I got to have my 0. Here's negative 3. Here's positive 3. I need to be greater than 3 or less than negative 3. And that's where you're going to have a graph like that. I hope this helps. If not, definitely want to tune into the video that is going to be on Schoology on Monday. It's going to be in a folder that says last week. And then you're going to click on that and it's going to show you my worked out answer keys for all 9 questions on the submitted assignment. All right, thanks for tuning in.